And there we go. That looks like that's going okay. That looks like that's going okay. Just waiting on video to pop through on my end. Cool, cool. Awesome. Well, hey there, hi there, everybody. And good evening to you here. Going to continue on with the live stream bit, figuring that all out. This is my third. It's an early live stream for me, so still figuring everything out. Tonight, I'm going to be going through the entire milestone for the Tier 4 Basic Arena. Been skipping out on that, focusing on the 5-star arena, but I need me some Tier 4 Basics. And every bit helps because those go fast, so may as well just dive right in and hit the ground running. So what I'm going to do, and this is also going to be the basis for a future video of mine, is how I get my infinite streak going in today's days and age. What I do is that I use 4 stars still. Now, it's funnily enough, 4 stars are still super applicable for the Tier 4 arena here and also for the 5-star arena. You just gotta be a bit strategic in who you use and when you use them. So for me, I don't use the strongest champs that I have right off the bat. I like to dial it down a bit and then work my way down my roster from there. So here we go. Now, when I first figured this out, I didn't think too highly of Quake, which is why I paired her with Karnak and Nightcrawler. We're decent champs, but not super great. However, I actually started to play Quake, and I have a slightly different opinion of her now. But I've just been doing this for so long that it's practically second nature and it's habit at this point, so figured throw her in and just for old time's sake. But as everybody here knows, the first couple of rounds are super easy. You get paired up with low-level champs. Easy game, easy life. And that's going to be true for basically the first 4-5 sets. Even though they get incrementally more difficult, it's still fairly straightforward. I'm running maxed out 4 stars right here. I'm going to be doing that for a little bit, but by the end, near the end of the infant streak, then it's going to be some of the rank 4 stars. That still works out. So here's what I do, and this is, your mileage may vary. I'm going to go and start using some of my strongest champs, so Cat Marvel, Simbi, and Thing, and save for much later 2 teams specifically, the Blade Sparky Ghost Rider team and then a Power Drain team, so Voodoo, Rogue, and OG Vision. But for now, I'm going to start at the top of my 4-star roster and work my way down. Actually, I haven't paid too terribly close attention to it anytime recently, but by doing it that way, it helps avoid some of the Death Squad teams that you hear about. Plus, the game still concurrently still faces you against opponents that are stronger than you, but they aren't going to be, like I said, either the Death Squads or people that you wouldn't be able to get through with your slightly low RPI 4-star team. So, let's finish off that Nightcrawler quick. Awesome. This is going to be cake. Now this 4-star Cat Marvel was the only version of her I'd had for the longest time. I was trying like heck to get a 5-star, and I finally did get a 5-star after months of trying and failing miserably. And then just my luck, as soon as I get the 5-star, not even a week later I pull the 6-star, which is awesome. It's a bit of a brag, sorry about that, but just funny how crystal pulls wind up working out. Another fun thing to notice about this that I'm sure you guys have noticed too is that the first round of opponents here play ridiculously passive and become even more passive as you go building up your streak, which is just a wee bit annoying. You just gotta play smart. And there we go. 2 teams up, 2 teams down. For all intents and purposes, 10 more to go. Save Voodoo, save that. So next up for me is Proxima, Gwenpool, and let's get Archangel in there. Excuse me. There isn't really any big reason why these champs, Gwenpool would be super useful later on, just because she can tank specials. Archangel would be useful later on, just because of his ridiculous debuffs. Let's run with that. See what happens. I'm also running my streak here without suicides because we're currently running AQ, and my AQ team is really not suicide friendly, so don't really want to waste the units turning them on, turning them off. But if you don't mind that, or if you have them on already, they will help you quite a bit. Just make your life a little bit easier and make the fights faster. But overall, since we're going all milestones, it's going to be about 2 million points. I'm estimating this to be about an hour and a half. Okay, so I got to back off, get them spores down. Which isn't bad. For all the stuff you get, and then the 2 full tier 4 basics, it's not bad. But most importantly, I think also at this point, just because everything's, look at that, finally baiting out the special. But I think just as importantly is the tier 4 basic are the resources you get between the battle chips and the gold. Because that stuff gets scarce. And for the battle chips, whether you want to wind up using those for either the regular arena crystal or the uncollected crystal, doesn't really matter. You're gonna wind up pulling gold either way, most likely. But that, at the end of the day, is really the point of those. And that's how I wound up getting my stockpile of gold. That, and I'm just on arenas freaking constantly. So we're still at the point where the opponents we're facing are about on par with us, which is nice. but perhaps a bit stronger. Like this team I'm fighting here has suicides, which bumps their PI, which on paper means that they're stronger than me, but, you know, they're bots. And if I can play smart enough to either bait out their specials, or because they aren't super strong yet, I don't really care, just push them to their special 3, and then tank hits. I never noticed the belt buckle on Bishop is off-center. Interesting. Get the couple Furies up on Heimdall. Heimdall is one of those champs that I wish was better. He has the best synergy in the game, hands down. Which means he's going to be on your roster if you take him in questing or take him into alliance events, but he's got a lot of utility where he can either focus on being offense or focus on being defense, much like some of the subsequent champs like Venom the Duck. But even once you get him ramped up with a couple of Furies and you have the buffs on him, he still just does not do a meaningful amount of damage. So let's look at things here real quick. I'm still saving my teams for later. I'm still working my way down my roster. All I'm doing is I'm just mixing up the classes a little bit. Another good rule of thumb right there. You are less likely to find yourself in a hairy situation if you bring 3 different classes with you for your arena team. If you bring 2 or 3 of the same class, you're much more likely to run into opponents of a superior class and automatically put you at a disadvantage. So that's no fun. We're also still at a point here where we're able to bait out enemy specials, which not only speeds things up, but just makes it a lot easier to attack and counterattack and so on and so forth. Now I've added a couple new rank 4 and rank 5 4-stars since coming up with this team. Immortal Iron Fist is one of those. But with the huge deluge of amazing champs that they've released in the last year and a half, you should have no problem finding really, really strong champs that can either have massive attack or massive defense. And just put those towards the top of your roster and make this part a lot easier. So there we go. 5 wins in already. We've got the 3 times multiplier going. We got all those 5 stars ready to go later on, but not yet. I want to get my streak going first before I introduce any of those. Got the 3 different classes. And then another decent rule of thumb is even amongst your rank 5s and rank 4s, it's still not a bad idea to pair a super useful, helpful champ up with a champ that really doesn't have a whole lot of utility. So for me, that's putting Hyperion on the team to counter my Daredevil. Love Daredevil. Good champ. But he's an original champ and he's gotten no love the last 3 years. Even though he's got... I should be able to tank that pretty easy. Even though he's got an amazing, unique ability, it's not super super useful anymore. That's right, he's got a Heimdall on the team. There we go. Easy game, easy life. Next up, start running into enemy 5 stars again, which is just, again, slowly ramping up the difficulty. But the hardest thing about them isn't whether you have class disadvantage or if they have a higher star rating than you, or if their PI is a little bit bigger. The most annoying thing about these guys is just their stupid passive nonsense, where they just sit there and you can try and bait out specials across the entire arena, and then they just run up and stop right in front of you. But there we go. Speaking of the most useful and annoying synergy in the game, here's their freaking crutch. Get this Heimdall going. Fortunately, to my point earlier, he's fairly easy to fight. He's got that auto block that occasionally pops up, which is, at this level, inconsequential. Annoying when he's actually super tanky, but for now, Alright. Get that degen counter on you, whatever it is. The special going on you. That's counting up. Awesome. Do another heavy, detonate that. Easy game, easy life. 6 wins in. Now, it still hasn't gotten particularly challenging yet. Granted, I still am running rank 5 4 stars. Which is still super useful. But now you start to see the disparity between your PI and the enemy PIs. Now, in order for my method to work, you don't necessarily always have to pick the most challenging opponent. You can go with the easier one with a more equitable PI level. But what I've noticed, if you do that too often, the difficulty spikes. So even though you get somebody who's more on an even playing field, they either play more aggressively, which isn't super bad, or they play more passively, which is awful. But with having 3 different classes on your arena team, you're able to mix and match, and very rarely is that going to go poorly for you. Now this fight can be annoying, just because it's Mordo, and he's got suicides. So what I'm going to want to do is chase this guy into a corner. Well, he doesn't want to move. Okay. The heavy, get rid of that power gain, try and bait out a special, or get punched. That's weird, that guy just does not want to dex like Mordos usually do. But he's aggressive. I love aggressive Mordos. makes life so much easier. Seven fights down. Moving right along. Already got a cosmic. Let's bring tech. I'm not going to fight that domino. That is just asking for trouble. So instead, let's do that. So, get this guy going, get him down, move on to some more interesting things. You can also tell that the team I'm running here has been around for a while just because of who has been maxed out. Like I would never, like if I got a 5-star Magneto or even a 6-star Magneto, I would never even consider ranking him up past 3 or 4. 4 really. Which is a real shame. He used to be such an amazing champ. He just, again, is one of those guys that just hasn't gotten any love. There have been rumors of him getting buffed, which would be nice. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Plus there's other champs that just really kind of need it more. Hulkbuster, even though he's getting a buff, Iron Patriot. List goes on. I would put Ultron on that list too. Used to be my tried and true for questing just because he's one of the rare champs that has a reliable regen. And he bleeds, which is nice, and you can cauterize the bleed, which is nice as well. It's just that the damage now is so underwhelming. So we're almost there. Starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel in terms of my rank 5s. Still want to go up against the strongest champ there. I think the most difficult thing, there's 2 really challenging things to know about getting and keeping an arena streak here. The first thing, and I think first and foremost, is that you have to accommodate for annoyingly passive champs. Like they will not bait out the special, like, watch, this Massacre is going to chase me across the entire stage without throwing a special one. I mean, I might wind up eating my hat, but now my money's on him chasing me across the stage. Despite me, oh, there we go. Well, I take it back. But it isn't reliable. Like later on after you get the streak, or especially in quests, or most alliance events, they've got much more reliable patterns where you can kind of count on when they would throw a special and then dodge, evade, parry, whatever, and counter attack. Here, they mimic you, so if you're standing with your shield down, waiting for them to throw a special, they do the same thing. Or they do that annoying bot bit where they run up right in front of you, stop, somehow, and then just wait. We're getting through this pretty good. and then the second thing, got rambling. The second thing, aside from overly passive enemies, is just knowing your opponent. There's so many champs in the game now, so many champs. And everybody has, obviously, the basics: lights, mediums, heavies, specials, but it's knowing what the animations look like, how to counter them, and what any possible side effects are. In addition to annoying champs with added bonus features like Electro, Korg, Omega. So then not only do you need to know how to fight them, but you gotta take their secondary abilities into account too. You can't stay too close to Omega when we got the spores up. Let's go Electro. Let's do that. Should be pretty good. Can't really hit Electro without taking damage, and so on and so forth. But now you'd notice that there's a huge PI difference between me and my opponent. So not only does that play to my disadvantage, but there's also a star ranking difference too, which puts me at a disadvantage as well. Come on, buddy. See if I can't proc a Fury on Hulk. And then just go for it. Perfect. No risk, no reward. I'd be curious to find out too after the fact. If you want to leave a comment below what your guys' strategies and ideas are about getting your own arena streaks, because everybody's is different. It's one of the more common questions I see in the forums and especially in global chat online. People are asking how to get their streak, how to keep their streak, especially with the ever-changing meta. But there we go. 10 wins. Now for this strategy is when things get interesting, because I forgot about Blade. Because I'm pretty sure this is when it switches over from player-controlled bots or player bots to like Thanos and King teams, which should make things easier because you can't get parried anymore. You would think, at least. But this is when those two teams that we saved at the very beginning come back into play. So first off is going to be the Trinity, Blade, Sparky, Ghost Rider. That's when you start getting... Oh, and then you're paired up with some really high-level champs too, so it doesn't really matter if you go for the higher PI ones or the lower ones. It's all going to be about the same. And these aren't overly difficult. They can occasionally, just based on who you get. You get Dominoes at this point. You get a bunch of Hyperions at this point. You know, the fun and interactive champs. As long as you play smart, try and bait out specials, get some damage over time going. And as you'll see with the next team, which is strictly a power drain team, doesn't really matter what they do, just drain their power. There's nothing they can do to you. Try and fade out a special here. Or at least get him to come at me and build up some of those sparky charges. There's that. Uh-oh. Alright, see what 4 charges and a special 2 do to this guy. Not much. I can bait out a heavy attack. Could power drain him. Or I could just wait for him to drop his guard and do that too. When I'm fighting these guys, I always like to try and go really hard or play really smart against the first 2 champs. Because as soon as I've secured the win for the first 2, it doesn't really matter what happens with the third. Extra gold, extra resources is nice, but you've already won the match, so while you're building up your streak, that's the only thing that really matters. Because the big points come later, after you get the streak, and you're in a much more hospitable area for enemies. And down goes Venom the Duck. I see you there, Doom. Your time's coming. First we gotta get these power burn champs out. Now this isn't quite a death squad per se yet. These guys are tough. They're twice, the PI is twice of my team, plus you see those 2 nasty voids, which is why I'm not going for those. I'm going for the Ghost. But you still have fun champs like Hyperion there. Ghost is going to be a piece of cake. Medusa is going to be annoying. Hyperion is the main fight here. But at this point, this is why it's important to bring the power drain champs. Because even if they turtle up, you can still drain the power, buy yourself a little bit more time. Hopefully they throw their special. Power drain off before her hair goes crazy again. That, awesome. Now Medusa's auto block only triggers on the second hit. So you can hit her once normally, but if you hit her twice, that's when the auto block kicks in. So you can still intercept her without worrying about being auto-blocked. And you can still do a medium attack. Or parry heavy, that works too. Let's see what Hype does here. Oh. He's gonna throw this and it's not... Oh, well, there we go. We got lucky. Nope, maybe not. Shouldn't be too horrible. Yeah, not bad. Now, if this was a quest and you did that much damage, that'd be awful. But since this is just a one and done thing, it really doesn't matter. The point is to just be the last man standing. Doesn't really matter how much health you have got left. So that worked out pretty good. Ghost should be the easy fight here. But to my point earlier, I've already won the first two, so even if push comes to shove and she intercepts me and just ruins me with her ridiculous crit, I'll still be okay. Bait out the special, awesome. And there we go. Bit of flair there at the end. Stay thirsty. So now is usually when you could go a couple different ways. This is the tier 4 basic arena. So at this point, if I go in straight away with my maxed out 5 stars, I'm going to get a really low level king team. And it's all fine and good, but then I waste a lot of potential points. So I'm going to go down to some of my rank 4 or 5 stars and use them instead. Which is a bit more on par with their PI. Doesn't really matter. Excuse me. That way I don't miss out on any extra bonus points once I start fighting people again. This Spidey isn't even awakened, so there's just nothing to worry about there. Nothing. Well, we're moving right along. Nothing awful here so far. No monkey wrench into the works. I would like to learn how to better dex Cable's Special 1 someday. It's really easy to evade the rest of it, but you still, the way I do it, you still get hit by the first hit, or second hit, I guess. His first hit is his backhand, second hit is the bullet, and you get hit a couple extra times if you don't dodge or deflect that bullet, so. But I would like to learn how to avoid all of it. That chip damage is annoying in high pressure situations. Same with Punisher 99. I've seen it done for Punisher, being able to dex past his specials. I've even done it once against Nick Fury, but that was with Ronin. I may have lucked out and used Ronin's evade to evade the chunks that I myself missed out on when I was just trying to evade him normally, so that put a caveat on that. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Now, if this is a normal arena or a champion arena, you wouldn't want to do what I'm doing right now by dropping down to suboptimal rank 4 or 5 stars. You'd want to go straight for the gusto with your best of the best until you get to about 15 wins. Once you get and you've got your 15th win, that's when your infinite streak kicks in, and it just makes life so much easier. this on just in case he wants to regen over that next bar of power. Which would have been really nice. Oh well. Oh. I can't tell you the last time that happened. Got hit by that last bullet there. Interesting. But either way, this should be the 15th win for me, which will set up my infinite streak, and then I can just start at the tip top of my roster, work my way down until we get to 2 million. Awesome. You know, for a split second, I thought I was just going to miss out on that. And then he special 3 and just one-shot me. But I lucked out. Not this time. Love long stuns, especially on king teams like that. We don't have any of the stun reduction. You can just combo so nicely. Okay, I misspoke. That was only 14 wins. Got one more. Now, for those of you who are starting out, I'm trying to remember. I think the Furies bypass some of the armor effects. Anyway, for those of you who are starting out in the game or don't have, or still working and building up a deep roster, this strategy isn't ideal for you, but the principle at the end of the day is still there. Where you don't want to start off with your strongest champ, you want to work down your roster, you want to try and save some power drain champs for fights 11 and 12. And then for everything after that, just use the strongest that you got. It's not a bad idea to throw a couple units on refreshes for your strongest champs. Or, barring that, just like start in on the arena as soon as it pops up, so by the time your champs refresh a couple of times, you still have plenty of time to get the rest of the milestones. This is not going well. Actually, let's get him to throw a special here. Because I remember the first time I did a tier 4 arena, I only had maybe one. Actually, that's not good. I didn't even have any rank 4 4-stars. I had to get to that 1.1 million or whatever it is using rank 3 4-stars and just a bunch of maxed out 3s. It took me probably north of like 6 hours, because by the time I went from the top of my roster to the bottom of my roster, of course I didn't have an infinite streak, so it's just barely trying to get points bit by bit. Yeah. That was pretty painful. Not gonna lie, that was pretty painful. But at that time, that was the only way you could reliably get a tier 4 basic. Like, those were so exceptionally rare, but you had to have them because that was the only way to obviously rank up your champs. And the higher ranking champs you have, and the more high ranked champs you have, the easier it is to get a streak, keep a streak, and speed things along. So now, you know, I'm at the point where I'm at. I have a pretty deep roster, and I'm able to nail it down pretty quick. So here we go, 15. That there is the infinite streak. And from here on out, for the next 15 matches or whatever it's going to be, it's going to be easy game, easy life. Because now that you got the infinite streak, they pair opponents based off of really where you're at on the roster, provided, you know, you don't dip below a certain PI level. I think at this point, using obviously rank 4 5 stars is fine. For the most part, rank 3 5 stars, a team of rank 3s. I got back off, that's gonna kill me. That's gonna kill me, stay away. Get off me. Go away. Go away. Now do the special, please. Or get to that and launch that. Okay, there we go. That could have been really bad. But a team of, what is it? 3 rank 3 5 stars is still enough to avoid the death squads. But if you got like 2 rank 3s and a rank 2, I'm 99% sure that's bad news. Likewise, obviously, rank 5 4 stars are fine. I'm fairly certain that a full squad of rank 4 4 stars is still fine. But when you start getting into the 3s, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. But in my experience, then that's really asking for trouble, especially if it's the 5-star champion arena. Because then undoubtedly you're going to get paired up with some 6 stars, and having a 4 go up against a 6 with all the summoner boosts and masteries, that's just asking for trouble. It's not impossible, but you're asking for trouble. What do I think of it? I'm gonna have to see if I'm gonna be able to make 2 million actually while I think of it. I should be able to. Start getting into some of those lower tier 5 stars like I was talking about. And by that point, I think some of my 4s should start refreshing. Finish it off that way. I'm just so spoiled by having 6s now. And all the points you get having them. That's why I don't mind pulling what would otherwise be considered junk champs from the 6-star pool. Because at the end of the day, they still are arena fodder. And the arena fodder, even though they're terrible in all other aspects of the game, still give you a heck of a lot of points. I think, what is it, a full, ouch, ouch, a full squad of 6 stars, just one team of 3, that's not good. One team of 3 can net you about 1,000,000 points. If you use them each time they refresh. Come on, stupid smash. Come on. Come on. He's still smash. Alright, this should do it. Alright, that was a lot closer than I was hoping for, but a win's a win. And Domino. Oh, Domino, how I love you. Can be such a thorn in my side sometimes. She's one of those champs that even if you know how to play her, you know how to counter her, and you know all the ins and outs, she still can throw you a curve and just completely destroy you out of nowhere. But we're moving right along, coming up on the first of the Tier 4 basic milestones, which will be real nice. Get that good and done under my belt. I had to go for the flourish there at the end. Still run into a lot of suicide opponents, which is nice because at this point bots are playing a lot more aggressively. It's a lot easier to bait out specials or to intercept them. And especially if they have the suicides, then that just means that they're helping you along. Ouch. Actually, that's not that bad. Them hit me. An auto block. Flow. Yeah, that was weird. So I fought a warlock earlier on, and when he did his special one, the projectiles were faster than I had ever seen off of a warlock. So I don't know if they had tweaked them, or if I was missing out on something or what, but that one that this one did right now, that was just a normal speed. It's a lot easier to see coming and decks out of the way. Excuse me. Moving right along. Makes me wonder if they're ever going to update these for to accommodate 6 stars, or if they're going to introduce yet another different arena where you get like you got to put up like 10 million points or 15 million points and get a single 2% tier 5 class catalyst crystal or something. I actually wouldn't put that past them, because that way you can grind out your tier 5 class catalysts 2% at a time. Should do it. Awesome. Here's yet another Captain Marvel. But I've got Corvus with an armor break. Easy peasy. Actually, let's just shake and quake this guy. You practice my quake dodging anyway, if he lives that long. Nope. There we go. That wasn't bad. Not great, but not bad. Sweet, so there we go. First milestone, first tier 4 basic milestone, 19 wins, and approximately 50 minutes, 55 minutes in. Getting there, guys. Getting there. Sure. Why not? Let's do this. Now, I'm sure people have their reasons for rank 5ing Red Hulk. It's not a bad champ. And he's definitely picked up some interesting synergies to make him more interesting. But outside of a Domino Trinity, he would not be the top 5 list of Scion champs I'd want to bring up. But, you know, to each their own. If that works for them, you got a solid bleed immune champ. You can incinerate, you can heal a little bit. You get that great domino synergy. There's definitely worse options. So, speaking of dominoes, we've got another one. Passive domino. Now she's fun, especially with Claire, because it makes you wonder which of Claire's debuffs to bring up. If you should keep the bleed one up so you don't get crit bled, or the incinerate so dominoes no, probably the crit bleed. I take it back. Bleed is a lot better because Domino only gets the crazy incinerate once she's got the full trinity. Otherwise, it's just a bleed that you need to worry about. Yeah, he bleeds. Yeah, but I want the health. There's strategery here, guys. There's definite strategery. Nick Fury's another one of those guys on my short list of people that I really need to learn how to play properly finally. You always hear about the amazing Nick Fury gameplay and solos, and utility, and all that jazz, which is awesome. I just don't have enough experience cycling his bleeds, getting up permanent bleeds, and then how to best utilize him once the real Nick Fury comes out. I have to see just how much damage he can still do with a decoy up. And if it's worth killing your first self for a slight damage boost. I think it really depends if the champ can evade or not as well. But put that on a to-do list. That should-ish do it. Nice. There we go. Last one. Come on, buddy. You know, this fight's gonna be over before I can even get a couple charges up, so forget that. Just wail into this guy. Easy peasy. So that's not bad. Got 10, 11 fights to go maybe. Let's save that. It's always fun just having some of the Fantastic Four synergize on the same team. Mordo has always been a pain in my side. Just with all the buffs he gets and the power gain and the evading and all that jazz, but I've got a real nasty one on my AQ path that I take in with a wasp. And even though I've fought him dozens and dozens of times there by itself, that dude still manages to throw me for a loop. Like, it really just depends. Like, I'm convinced that Mordo has several different AI patterns. And it just really depends on what pattern you get. And that depends on what kind of game you're going to have. Because you could get an extremely passive Mordo, and those guys are super tough. Because they're passive to begin with. Especially when that power gain comes up. Or you could get lucky and get an aggressive Mordo and use that aggression against them. Because the real trick is just playing around that power gain. The evasion you get over real quick, but that power gain sneaks up on you real fast. Pardon me. I feel like I'm getting to be an old man. It's still relatively early here, and there I go yawning. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. I love that they buffed Colossus. But the reasoning why they didn't buff the 1-star is so dumb. It's such a transparent, obvious bit that they intentionally didn't want to do that, just to give you, just to take away that tool from variant 4, because there's really no other reason for it. You're never going to use them outside of like day 1 players and people coming back to do variant. And you can't tell me that a 1-star champ, when you're going to be getting some of the much more complicated 2-star champs and 3-star champs within a matter of hours of first playing, that having a 1-star Colossus with all of the literature that comes with his playstyle now is going to be too overwhelming for somebody. I call shenanigans. That's gonna kill him. Oh wow, that actually got him. I thought I was gonna kill myself. I'll take it. Keep the show moving right along. If I'm lucky, I got maybe 8 more fights. Let's do this. I also would melt Ghost too fast. cold snap going. Say bye-bye to that annoying evasion. That. Special, special, special. Debuff the guy to death. I've said it before, but I'm so tempted to take my 6-star Elsa to rank 3 unduped. She's just so stinking much fun. Especially now that there's a thing boss for the newest iteration of Alliance Quest. Now, granted, she would need to be awakened to really take advantage of her benefit for that, seeing as how Thing is both science and an XL champ. But, yeah, I speculate that she's just gonna melt him. Okay, last fight. It's kind of a shame that they haven't been able to code Ghost in such a way where the AI can actually play Ghost. Like, it's such a unique playstyle, but the AI bots as is just have no idea what to do with her, and as such, make her a super easy target. I do appreciate, too, having watched Dave's vid from when he went up to Kabam HQ, that they were talking about having an auto refresh. Although, for the help button, I should say. Although my one concern with that is that I hope that that's an option that you can toggle both on and off. Because that auto bit would be super useful if you're just blazing through arenas, but it would be ridiculously annoying if you're arena grinding. You have to just keep refreshing the same team over and over again. So that would really slow you down. Now here's a question. Why haven't they come out with this 6-star Unstoppable Colossus yet? Like, that dude is 2 years overdue. Almost. A year, for sure. Like, it's an Unstoppable Colossus. He's not gonna break the game. Plus, that section of the store could use a bit of a overhaul anyway. Maybe Kabam has just realized that some people have been hoarding loyalty for just such an occasion. They might wind up doing like they did last time when they introduced the 5-star, right before they introduced the 5-star, I should say. They did a real shady thing where they gave a increased chance loyalty crystal. So for the same cost as a regular crystal, you had like twice or 3 times as likely a chance of pulling a let's switch out there, a 4-star Unstoppable Colossus, which still wasn't available in the store yet. So it was super rare, super rare. But you got that like increased chance. What happens? They offered that, and everybody just like emptied their stash trying to get them. Some people did, most people didn't. And then within a couple of weeks, then they introduced the loyalty stores where you could buy the 4-star version and the new 5-star version, which was, and as one of those people that dumped all their resources into that special one-time bit, it was pretty frustrating having to start all the way from scratch, saving up loyalty to buy the 4 and 5-star twice, because, you know, to wake them up. So I will not be making that mistake a second time. think this is one of the first Omegas I've fought that doesn't have suicides turned on. I don't know what to do with this information. Actually, you know what? Let's have some fun. I got 3 saved up. Let's be a punching bag for a minute. That's so lame. Such a nominal amount of damage to reflect. Like, you have to get virtually KO'd to then reflect that back onto the opponent in any sort of meaningful way. What a shame. That could have been a really cool ability. Almost there. I'm not really sure what they were going for with post-buff Maw. Because he's better. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely better. But even after the buff, he's really not great. Which is a shame because everybody else they've buffed up until this point. She-Hulk, Spider-Gwen, Venom, Carnage. Like, they've all just gone from complete meme to actually super useful. Maybe we just haven't realized the potential of Maw just yet. But, still pretty underwhelming. You know, before they came out with Clairvoyant and Doom and Man-Thing and Longshot and Mojo. So back before, like, the best Mystic champs came out, barring a couple, as 5 stars at least. Hood was at the top of my rank up list as far as Mystics go. He isn't the strongest or the fastest, he isn't the tankiest or any of that jazz, but he's got some fun utility, fun synergy. And that would have been interesting to see at a higher level of gameplay. But then, you know, everybody else came out and he isn't so new and shiny anymore. He's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. He is not a bad champ. Don't get me wrong there, but honestly, if you had a Doom and a Hood in your roster, who would you rank up? Let's see which... I think it's what, Proxima Special 1 that does the armor break? Let's find out. Might be the 2. Yeah, it's 2. Come on. Thank you. That. Parry up. Parry up again. That should do it. Oh. What am I missing? Is it a synergy? Because I could have sworn that she was able to. Have to look at that after the stream. Okay. So all this is just a really, really weak Realm of Legends punching bag. Which is a shame, because Winter Soldier is interesting. Especially with the Killmonger synergy that makes him like a bleeding Star-Lord, basically. But he's just another one of those forgotten champs that have kind of just fallen by the wayside in light of all the new shiny champs that have come out. Couple more. I should stop saying that. It sounds like I'm counting down. I'm not. I'm actually having fun. This is good. Let's do it that way. Just wait for the Unstoppable to go away. He's got Suicides on, which is awesome. Play that to my advantage. But really at this point it's just punch. Punch until he stops moving. Still love that you can get that one medium hit in at the end of his medium attack, or his special 2 attack, I should say. Right when you have that dead iframe. Thought for sure they probably would have figured out a way to get rid of that, seeing as how it's a cheap freebie hit, but then again, I don't think too many people think about Unstoppable Colossus anymore. Although, with the introduction of the 6-star crystal, I think most people had forgotten about Joe Fixit as well. Right now, I think the queen of that category is OG Ms. Marvel. Because you've got the Captain Marvel as a 6-star, you've got Kamala Khan as a 6-star. OG Ms. Marvel hasn't gotten any love anytime soon. Kind of surprised she wasn't in the latest batch, to be honest, but perhaps the next one. Come on, buddy. There we go. Nailed it. This should be the last one. Perfect. Love that. Class advantage all the way. Tricked into the parry. Thank you for that. Easy peasy.
Alright, so sorry about that, guys. Gotta switch over to the secondary backup mic. One on the headset just died. So that's fun. But there we go. 30 wins, 2 tier 4 basics, got an arena streak with 4 stars. Not bad. Let's go ahead and claim all that goodness, the gold and loyalty and units and all that jazz. Perfect. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me here tonight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. All that stuff helps me out. If you got any questions or comments or concerns about how I got the tier 4 streak, or if you've got any ideas to how I could improve it, be sure to leave that in the comment section down below. Till next time, thanks for watching. Be sure to blah blah blah, already said that. Take care, talk soon, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now, guys.